Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Carol.
Welcome to the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful Kingston, Jamaica. A little chilly this morning, but it's bright and sunny. We're not used to the chilly. But we welcome you to our hearts and to our home, our spiritual home. Please join me in an opening affirmative prayer, and then I will take you into the silence with a chant. In this moment, we recognize God, that one perfect and perfecting presence that lives in, through, and as each one of us. So I am knowing that this morning's service is a perfect idea that is being presented through God, as God works in us. So every idea that is presented is an idea that is uplifting and inspirational. Every word that is spoken is tipped with celestial fire. And every heart is open, every mind is receptive, so that as each person brings themselves and their consciousness to this morning's service, they are uplifted and inspired and are never again the same from this day forward. I give thanks for this knowing, and I release these words now into that infinite law that has already made this so. And so it is. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos. So it is.
So it is.
We have an inspirational reading this morning that is written by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And this is taken from a previous edition of the Science of Mind magazine. It's an excerpt from his book called This Thing Called Life. The power of life within you is a spiritual power, able to bring you permanent peace, increasing happiness and joy, and greater material abundance. Those things which have made man miserable and unhappy can be eliminated through the conscious use of this power. God could not visit fear or hate or impoverishment upon us, because God must be just the opposite of these things. It is then really necessary that the world should have a new concept of God. The only thing that can bring this joy, peace, and prosperity to the world is a direct experience of the invisible. We must sense the immediate presence of life. With simplicity and directness, we must sense that the Spirit is at the center of our own lives. We should also learn to recognize it at the center of other people and working in human affairs. While it is true that God's power is always with us, it is not true that we have always realized its presence. To realize this is to be able to make conscious use of it, to direct it for ourselves and for others. If you knew that the creative energy of the universe were at your disposal, and that the same power which made everything is flowing through you, would you not naturally feel that you possessed that pearl of great price? Wouldn't you?
Yes.
You asked the question and answered it.
Absolutely. We have any children in here today? Of childhood age?
Oh, that's amazing. They were in
Come forward. The blessing is found on page 2. I light this candle on behalf of all the youth of the world. Let us behold the Christ in them. And now let us say the blessing.
We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. And we see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is.
And let's stay up here. We're going to do the mission song now.
The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one spirit on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one spirit on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
Well, if you weren't awake before, you wake up now. On page 2, there's an affirmation of divine love, which I'd like us to do together. Together. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for this church now. Divine love is now victorious, and so it is. And you can personalize that, you know. Divine love provides every good thing for me and everyone now. So it is.
So it is.
The responsive reading is found on page 3.
Praise song. Praise song.
Praise song.
What are we going to
Okay.
learn?
Praise song. Praise song, 1,000 ways. And this is a new song, so you're going to have to learn it with me. Right? New to me, too.
Me too.
Angela will play it through once, and then we'll give it a try.
Okay.
Okay.
God has 1,000 ways to bring perfect good to me. I need no designate or say what channel it shall be. As the hand supplies me means, so the paths may open wide. Your thoughts may come and new ideas His bounty to provide. Mine is the task to wait in faith as though I would to you. That lies ahead with willingness and trust His promise true. 1,000 ways, yes, is a manifested soul. Why should I doubt? Why should I fear? My part is not to know.
It's a beautiful song. We'll have to do it again so we can learn it. Learn it good.
Especially the second verse.
Did you like that song? It's brand new. Now let's do the prayer of our center. Please stand. Prayer of our center is a flyer in your program. Together. The
Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is.
Please be seated. I will now bring you a few announcements. If you're just tuning in, welcome to our online family, to the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living on this Sunday, January the 15th, in beautiful, sunny, but chilly Jamaica. Do we have any first-time guests with us this morning in the sanctuary? If there are, would you please identify yourself so we can welcome you properly? We're all family? Oh, we have one.
Yeah.
Welcome. Please stand so our usher can put a sticker over your heart that says, "We behold the Christ in you." We welcome you to our hearts. And for those of you who are online, if you're visiting us online for the first time, identify yourselves there too. And we behold the Christ in you. And we hope to see you again and again, the newcomers here. We have a few but exciting things happening here at the temple. Right after this morning's service, we have our Wisdom Circle with Angela. And it is based on the book, The Science of Successful Living by Raymond Charles Barker. So join us for a little Wisdom Circle discussion. That's immediately following the service this morning. On Tuesday evenings at 6 o'clock, we have our Spiritual Mind Healing Service. This Tuesday, our presenter will be practitioner Dr. Tamu Davidson. The Zoom link is sent out from our mailing list on Tuesday morning. So if you're not on the mailing list, get on the mailing list so you can get informed about what's happening. So that's 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, also at 6, we have Prayer Power. And this is an activity of prayerful communion. This has been going on for over 20 years now. And the Zoom link also will be sent out from our mailing list for this. It's a very spiritual, calming kind of activity. Activity is a big word because it's not really activity. It's spiritual consciousness. 6 o'clock on Thursday. Now next Sunday after church, we'll be having a village circle conversation as we meet this new year together and plan the way forward for us as a community. So come out and tell us what you would like the experience of this new year of fellowship to be. And for those of you online, I believe you can tune in online as well. We have a few farewells. Our prayers are with Reverend Michael and his family, as his brother-in-law, Dr. Richard Bernal, made his transition this past week. On Monday morning, January the 16th, that's tomorrow, at 11 o'clock, the funeral service for Siraj Lakasing, husband of our member Effie Lakasing, will be at Andrews Memorial Seventh-day Adventist Church. Our prayers and love support Effie at this time. So that's 11 o'clock tomorrow morning at Andrews Memorial Seventh Day. Now, on March the 2nd, the Temple of Light hosts the award-winning benefit play, No Hope for Hopi. It is directed by our own T.K. Dawkins and written by Basil Dawkins. Tickets are available in the office. Please pick up your tickets. So that's March the 2nd. We continue to respond to all your prayer requests. Our practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following the service and every Sunday service. This morning, practitioner Jennifer Livingston will be on duty. The number to call is 876-289-0907. And if you wish to speak to a minister, call the same number, 876-289-0907, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. until midnight. Now the good part. To financially support our ministry, kindly visit our donate page at donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has all our banking details. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to continue to be a beacon of light in in the world. And thank you for sharing your consciousness with us this morning. That concludes our announcements. And now let us sing.
Responsive reading.
No, we'll do the responsive reading now.
Yeah, changed up everything.
The responsive reading is found on page 3 of your program or on screen for those of you who are online. There is one energy back of all that is energized.
All energies from the one whose being is ever present and whose life is robed in numerous forms, is manifest throughout all creation.
There will ever remain the one absolute certainty that we are ever in the presence of infinite energy from which all things proceed.
The world of multiplicity does not contradict the world of unity, for the many live in the one.
Man is a spirit, while God is the spirit.
We lie in the lap of immense intelligence, which makes us organs of its activity and receivers of its truth.
Know ye not that ye are temples of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
We dwell in spirit, and spirit in us, because that one Spirit has given us all of itself.
And
So it is.
And now, with that in mind, let us sing with gusto and joy. Sing, oh sing ye joyful people. That's on a flyer in the program and on the screen. Yes, please stand.
Sing ye joyful people, lifting high your joyful song. Ring the bells from every steeple, sing your praises full and strong. In the tones of music blending, hear God's vibrant harmony. And the rhythm it is sending of new glories yet to be. We call, we can see perfection manifest in every part. Utterly in all creation, inwardly in every heart. We triumphant joy eternal, seek and know and never find. Justified not by external, but by attitude of mind. Praise the eternal Spirit, mighty and fulfilling power. Wise men ever shall revere it, in each new advancing hour. In the light of truth expanding, greater vision now behold. And in fuller understanding, know God's glories manifold.
Thank you. Please be seated. And help me to welcome our presenter this morning, Reverend Sonia Davidson, who is bringing words of truth and light and love and going to make you think. Welcome, Sonia.
Yes. Morning, morning, Carol. You have set the tone for this service, and I thank you so much. It is so wonderful to have your warm and loving presence with me on the platform this morning. And everyone, welcome, welcome to this nice chilly morning. I don't see any minks or anything like that, but I see people kind of clad. I made the mistake of going out last night not knowing. and I shivered behind a tree for a long time. But guess what? It's a pleasant change from the heat. And guess what? We are blessed with brilliant sunshine, even in the presence of the chilliness, right? And as somebody says, at least I don't have to shovel snow, right? Let's be grateful. And let us say together, welcome to those persons on the World Wide Web. So, friends, I don't know what brought me to be thinking about cricket and my mother who transitioned in 1964. But I just felt the energy of her joy as she just enjoyed cricket. Some of the people who she enjoyed are maybe not even known by most of you in here, or maybe anybody. She loved Gary Sobers. Is this Gary Sobers? She loved Sobers. She loved Kanai. And she just loved cricket. Anybody in here love cricket? Not too many, eh? Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, I can speak for two of for sure, right? I think one of them actually went to England too. Yes, Yvonne, to watch cricket. But guess what? Whether you love a game or not, you cannot resist the feeling that people have when they love something. And I mean, I used to wonder how anybody could love watching somebody throw a ball at a 100 miles an hour, they say, something like that, at somebody else who just stands there and bats it. And then it goes on in the hot sun for days. Now I hear you can do it in a shorter time, right? And then I know now, I like this part when they hit the ball and it goes way over, and then sometimes it lands in the stadium, right? And everybody make a great hurrah. But the followers of cricket absolutely love it. And there is so much joyful energy there, right? You know, and there's a metaphor, you know, in cricket for life. Think about it. You know, you're there, you're prepared. These people, I know what they're doing. Nowadays, they put on, whatever they call the thing, helmet, no? Something like that. Before that, they would just face the ball and stare it in the face, right? No matter how fast it's coming. No, they're better prepared, but they know what we are doing. So when we're prepared for life, we go out boldly. And whichever ball comes to us, sometimes it's a bouncer, sometimes it's a spin, sometimes it's a high speed, whatever it is, we know we can block it. Sometimes we get out, but that's just for the moment, right? Now, as cricket sort of faded a little bit, then guess what came on that caught Jamaica's attention, Jamaicans' attention? Jamaica started to like football. Why? Because we like to win, and we were winning enough to end up at the World Cup for the first time, right? And then all of a sudden, all Jamaicans came together, wherever we were. I think we had started the knocking pan those days, I'm not sure, but we gathered together wherever we could and watched what was going on. And there was the roar and the joy, and guess what? The infectious nature of this joy. And then after that, our athletes used to win, you know, but then we started winning and winning and winning, and then the attention turned also now to, guess what? Athletics. Well, guess what? After a while, we just took it for granted, and if we're not winning everything, we kind of, we lose it. As life is, we crave after things, and we get it, right? And we think that is the thing that is making us feel joyful, and then after a while, it looks stale, or we expect more and more, right? So, guess what we turn to now? World Cup. We don't have anybody in World Cup, But everybody pick a side, right? And find joy in their side, doing well. We usually try to pick the one that we feel is going to win. So we really, because we like to win, as I told you. And something interesting happened. We were told that when the World Cup was going on, crime fell in places where crime was highest. So I can only assume that that collective consciousness of attentiveness and joy and love for something might have, they have not come up with a reason, but there was an undeniable connection between when the World Cup was going. You heard? Anybody heard about that? Yeah. And somebody said maybe we should have something like that going every day. But you know, that is still telling you that people are looking to things, thinking that it is the things that makes them joyful. The fact is, although joy is infectious, it is like palpable evidence of the presence of the infinite. It is the infinite that is pouring itself. Yes, it is trying to pour itself, put itself forth. And it actually comes through the things that we enjoy through. So, isn't it possible? Surely we were made with that joy in us because we were made in the image and likeness, and more than that, we are that joy. We are the presence of God made manifest. And the more we pay, we know it with our intellect, and we are convinced, but we have to allow our nervous system to adapt so that that is our default mode of knowing that we are the joy. So, friends, we are conduits for that joy. We are that joy that is trying, forcing us, impelling us to let it take form in whatever we do. We have had some lovely times just listening to all the things that exhort us to choose the things that we wish to experience, our goals. We have been told in 2-part workshops by Sandra Cooper and Reverend Ann Shand, reminding us really of things we have heard in classes, we have heard from the platform, and year after year, we choose carefully goals that we wish to see manifest in our lives. No, yes, we have chosen the goals, but make no mistake, the goals are not what's going to make us happy. Goals are not the things that are going to bring joy. Yes, it's the channel through which joy will come. But as long as we remember that, and if we are not remembering that when we are embracing our goals, we are in fact not feeding our goals with that joy. So sometimes it's a disappointment. We get it and just, okay, so I've had my whatever for a few weeks and, it doesn't feel the same way. Or, it's not as I thought it would be. So, we must remember to feed our goals with this joy. But guess what? We can't feed what has not been awakened within us in the same way. Yes, we can declare it. We can think about it. But the whole idea of our life is to awaken the awareness of that joy, because joy being the power and presence of God in each one of us, if you listened attentively to that reading by Dr. Ernest Holmes, you will realize that he's reminding us that this thing, he called it this thing, is within us, around us, and it is there for us to do through us what we desire. So, my focus this morning, yes, we have heard about choosing our goals, like we choose seeds to plant, knowing that we choose the seeds that correspond to what we want. We've been told, I don't know if ackee seeds grow. If you want an ackee tree, right, I know that is a fact, right, because there's a place that we had owned in the country where there were about 3 trees. And when I went back there years later, it was a forest of ackee trees. And nobody had planted it. The ackee just fallen and they have grown. Bless the fertile soil of this country. Yes, that is the kind of mind that we want to cultivate for ourselves. Yes, that mind which receives the impress of our thoughts, it does it, but it wants to be that mind that thinks rightly, thinks joy, thinks peace, thinks serenity, thinks beauty, thinks order, thinks with authority, which is the power. All that one, is the power and presence of God. And if we spend the time in quiet contemplation of this power, so much so that which was given to us, the privilege of a nervous system which we can use in this body to direct our thoughts and our attention, and so program our minds. By the way, did you know that the computer is a very poor, no, I wouldn't say poor, it is trying to emulate this nervous system. And so when we go to the computer and we well, I'm not a programmer, but programmers tell me that once they're programmed, they are confident of what is going to come. When I go to the computer and I start typing, I believe that if I type P, I expect to see P, right? Mm-hmm. So when we program that mind to be receptive, and that mind that begins to think according to its divine nature, then we get what we call spontaneous right thinking, and then spontaneous right thinking leads to spontaneous right action. Without any question, without even thinking, it occurs. And when that spontaneous right thinking leads to spontaneous right action, then our lives become more orderly. And what we do is infused with joy. And even in not doing, because I would say it in inverted commas, but being still is doing. It is doing the awareness of the presence of that which we are. And you see, when our prayers and our goals are set in such a way that the grand goal of all embodies all the other goals that we could think of, the one goal to realize continually, Reverend Michael, yes, the power and presence of God as our nature, to walk and step and know, here comes God. And when we look out, hi God, no, we're not suggesting that you go everywhere in half a tree and say that, but that's how your mind will work when it is in spontaneous right thinking. We see God not only in people, we see God in plants, in flowers. A patient of mine shared yesterday, not the patient, the wife came in, she was quite concerned because her husband, who was a very active gentleman, who used to be so helpful around the house, who used to enjoy making things and, just being very active. He had, over the past few months, just been sitting outside, just seeming to enjoy the breeze, enjoy the trees, looking at the butterflies as they pass by with a smile on his face. And she was concerned. She said she had to take him to the doctor because something must be going wrong. This man was as contented as ever, and he had me in peals of laughter. Everything he said was so funny. But there comes a time when maybe he might be active again, because in that silence is the field of all possibilities. So when you get into that silence, practice it. Out of it comes everything that you could ever want, and things that you don't even expect, but things that are right for us. Right? Remember, you have chosen, you have planted. And if you can go back and read Jesus' parable. He said, those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Where he speaks about the soul, right? And the seed. And he does describe the different types of soil. But the one I like, yes. We go through all the ones that we know are we journey through, okay? And I'm not going to go through it, but when he speaks about the one that is, that takes, right, the seed and it grows, right? He said it fell on good ground, which preceded a crop 160 or 30 times that was drawn. And then he said, whoever have ears to hear, let them hear. He is talking about that consciousness in which we walk and live and think from the field of all possibilities. In which the Christ consciousness, remember we are that Christ consciousness in us. We are to give it attention. We are to feed it and allow that soil, that all of those goals that we have set, to just so manifest so spontaneously, easily, effortlessly, peacefully, joyfully, lovingly, and with great fulfillment. That next year, perhaps the only goal we have is to walk consciously, deliberately, in the continual awareness that I am the presence of God. I am that I am. I am that I am. I want to share with you, this truth is universal. I have been a meditator since 1981, thanks to Reverend Elmer. February 1981. So I'm quoting from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who is the founder of the Western branch of this meditation. And this was shared with me by a loving soul who is a one of our 2 TM meditators, Sheena Robinson. The other is Yvonne Chang. Oliver, we are blessed to have 2 trained meditation teachers, and we also have our own Reverend Anne, who is ready and willing to teach you meditation at any time. Because meditation is not the airy-fairy or scary thing that some people think. It is just surrender to the silence. I want to share with you what Maharishi said. So it will sound very familiar to you because you have heard it from our teaching, formal teaching. He says, when asked about grace, he says, man has already been given the greatest gifts, the perfect human nervous system. He said, with infinite being pervading it, along with mind's natural tendency to seek it. We have got it already. He said 2 things. The instrument is perfect, the infinite is pervading it, and the mind is 3 things, which is seeking for more and more, is of the habit of enjoying more and more. And so all aspects of life are so fully prepared to enjoy all the maximum that God has already given to man. He said, this is grace. God has given us as much as God will and can give us. We must use this nervous system to use the mind, allow the mind, refine the nervous system so that the mind can have a perfect channel. We can also use the nervous system, right, to contemplate the things that are lovely and of just report. I say, guess what? The mind and the brain go together like hand and glove, right? The one feeds on the other. The other allows us to be attentive to the things that nourish the mind, right? So I say, practice this week. I know we are all meditators, I think. I would like to say we are all meditators in our own way, right? I'm not going to take any, whatever you call it, poll right here. But really, I'd like to say to you what I say to all of my patients who are receptive. Just turn up, show up, just sit, be. When I was a little bit, my mother used to say, stop skylarking and come inside. I would sit on a they call it a sink or a cistern, way up. I lived in St. Anne's when I could see the sea for miles. And I would just allow my gaze to go where it wanted to go. Just be. I didn't know what I was doing. My thoughts were there, and I wasn't paying attention to them. And when I did, I said, oh, okay, right? Well, meditation is that simple. Just show up, right? Yes, later on, when you are more advanced, you might want to do like what the scuba diver does. After you can dive on your own, you get a scuba diver gear, and you go deeper. Well, a mantra or whatever technique you use is like that. But before that, show up, sit still, and allow the thoughts to do what they want to do. They need to do that. Your thoughts need to come and go, and pay no attention to them. Right, unless you hear, of course, something is on the stove, right, and just you affirm divine order, and carry on. I remember meditating through an earthquake. I never budged. Because there's something wonderful about when you practice the silence. Your body begins to take on that same silence. So even when you have your emotions, they're more intellectual. It doesn't run through your body as heart beating and chest tight. So I implore you, right, to allow the silence to be part of your life experience. And in no time at all, you will watch and see more and more joyful thoughts only. You go back to your default mode. No matter if you see something which people call negative, it's like your mind doesn't allow it to happen. You just go back, right? Even if you start feeling a little anger, you can't feel anger for long. Sometimes we like to feel that, that person did that to me. They deserve it. No. The mind that is stayed on God doesn't allow itself to stay there at all. It's not even have to force it away. It will not stay there. So one of the things we are going to do is to cultivate that consciousness, that mind, where when we plant the things, and we have planted the things that we want, and we're going to watch to see how joyously, how freely and easily it comes forth. And there's so many things that are in our Bible that tells us, exhorts us to be still. See if you can. The other assignment I'm giving you is to Google and find all the things that exhort you to be still, right? It's rich in our Bible, especially in the teachings of Jesus the Christ, right? He knew because he went to the mountaintop of his consciousness whenever he had something to do or whenever he had met up with the mobs. And we can meet with the mobs sometimes in our own consciousness. The mobs meaning those thoughts that want to be unruly, right? Go. Don't wait until we get the mobs. Go and make it a practice. And then our thoughts will become more gentle, more loving, more joyful. And remember what I said, joy is infectious. It is infectious. You cannot be around a joyful person. Remember the patient that I saw yesterday, who's, I think by the time I sent her aside, the wife said, she came in by herself first, to tell me all about him. Do you want me to come back in and out? I said, no, yeah, it's okay. And we laughed her away. And some patients were sitting there, just laughed as well. Joy is infectious. We are made of God, with all the attributes of God. And joy is the one that is so dynamic, right? Peace, all of the attributes are there. When joy comes, every other attribute of God is awakened, infinite attributes, but the ones that we contemplate most, it just comes forth. I promise you, give the silence the time. Give it the time, and your life will always get richer, richer, more beautiful, more peaceful, more wonderful. Namaste.
I told you she'd make you think. But what came out of Sonia's message really is to be that joy. We don't have to go seeking after it, we already have it. So just allow that joy to be present in your experience. And how to get there? Through the silence. Remember that chant that I did at the beginning? In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is unspoken joy. So be in the silence and experience that joy. Thank you, Reverend Sonia. That's beautiful. We now have a musical item with our own Janet Henry. Give her a hand. Welcome her.
Our Heavenly Father, who in love abideth, we worship Thee, we praise Thy holy name. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Oh, give us grace to meet the coming morrow. Forgive our debts as others we forgive. Thou leave us not, Thy children in temptation, and from all evil Thou deliverest us. Thine is the kingdom, Thine the power and glory, world without end, forevermore.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you for agreeing to sing this song especially. I know Maestro taught it to you, and whenever I hear it, and especially when I hear you singing it, I remember how much joy he gave us, how much joy was channeled into his teaching of us, and also how much joy it gave him when I had to sit and listen to a 1-hour talk about Port Antonio, who he loves so much. Yes, and speaking of joy, and those who have transitioned, the joy that was lived by these people who are mentioning, two of our congregants as many, Sandra Donaldson and Carmen Clark, came out in their Thanksgiving services. And that joy is palpable. It transcends physical distance. I want to also say that the joy that we are experiencing in the floral arrangements, which were done by Connie Nugent for Carmen Clark's service, oh my gosh. I don't blame you if you come up and take some pictures.
Connie
It
and
is
Judith there.
absolutely beautiful. Thank
Judith
you,
there.
Connie.
And Judith there.
And Judith, Judith's there, yes, it's here. Judith, yes, my schoolmate. Judith, Judith, I haven't seen her for a while, but it's lovely. Let them give them a applause. I love joy. I can see why they called me Pollyanna at school, right? Okay, so after that musical item, we are going to pour our consciousness of pride and joy into the prayer of Jamaica. Please stand. Prayer of Jamaica. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And our second hymn is found on the flyer.
Yes.
Yeah, a flyer. A golden,
Dawn
No,
is breaking.
yeah, yeah. Golden dawn is breaking, and it's on the net.
Golden dawn is breaking, the shades of night will flee, and sons of men are waking, the light of truth shall see. We hail its light with gladness, our hearts burst into song, for truth will conquer sadness, and joy shall reign ere long. The golden day is dawning, the light of truth appears. The first bright ray of morning dispels our darkest fears. With peace and love in kindness, transforming every heart, the day of joy and gladness shall never more depart. The golden day advancing now sheds a wondrous light, and rays of truth enhancing make all things pure and bright. The sons of men beholding, my greater goes the reign, for now we see unfolding the light of God within.
And friends, as usual, we are just so grateful for all the gifts, the palpable gifts as money substance that helps to support our church. We are grateful to all who are here and who are all at a distance who continue to support us. And we know that your lives are as blessed as ours are in this sanctuary and as this church physical space is being blessed. And so we ask you to continue with this blessing to yourself and to us. You may go to our webpage, you can go to our Facebook page, and there is the information that you will need in order to pay online. But I am sure that the office will welcome you anytime with your envelopes ready to share of the blessings that you are given. And so we are going to clasp our envelopes and we are going to bless it. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father, and so it is. And so we give thanks for the abundance that has been poured into our lives, into all creation, by that love which is God's presence. We know it is that which continues to enrich our consciousness, so that we live spontaneously in that awareness that we are surrounded by. We are filled with a loving presence that gives of itself to us and through us continually. And so we know that that is that for which we give thanks. We give thanks always, every time, every waking moment. We are filled with gratitude for the eternal gift that is given from that love, which is God, a gift of grace given for us to use and to enjoy. And so as we leave here conscious of the infectious nature of joy, that joy which binds us together. And as we walk this life pathway, wherever we go, others feel it. They are lifted up and they spread that joy also. Our households are filled with joy. Our workplaces are filled with joy. Our streets that we traverse are filled with joy. Jamaica is filled with joy. Our planet Earth is filled with joy. And even in the known and unknown places on this cosmos, it is filled with joy because we have just lit that spark and keep going. The consciousness of joy. We are doing God's work, and we are grateful that we can, and that we know, and know that we know. This is the truth for which I give thanks that it is so, and so it is. And friends, we are going to sing together a peace song, but it's going to be sung as Yes, There Is Light on Earth.
Yes, there is light on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is light on earth, the light that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, there begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in light eternally. Yes, there is light on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And friends, as we go, remember our church is rich in offerings. You'll soon be hearing about the dates for classes. But this Tuesday, Dr. Tamu Davidson will be sharing our consciousness with you at 6 o'clock in our healing service. And then prayer power. Give yourself a treat and come. Just come. Don't ask what it's about. Just come and share your consciousness and let Spirit impel you to be part of that collective consciousness which is radiating wonderful things throughout the world. And guess what? Next week, same time, same place. But let me say in the affirmative, I am inviting and imploring all of you to stop what you're doing at 12 to come to Noon Bites and hear the beautiful, passionate consciousness of Reverend Ann Shand as she shares 5 minutes or less of inspiration. Invite your friends, pause for a moment, and enjoy. It's on the YouTube. Easy to access. Do that. And guess what? Remember to subscribe and like. And this will help to spread our YouTube channel's word. So next week, same time, same place.
Wisdom Circle.
Wisdom Circle.
Oh, the wisdom. How could I? This has been a wonderful opportunity for you to come. The Wisdom Circle, chaired and facilitated by our own maestro, Angela, right? Elliot. Stay on for a short time and just experience it if you have not experienced it before. And if you have, remember it's an opportunity to study. I think this is Ernest Holmes' book that is not very well known to most of us. It's called what? It's back? Okay. Well, okay. What is it? The title?
Successful living.
The Science of Successful Living. Right. Stay on, please, and enjoy. Okay. Thanks for reminding me.
And also, one other little announcement. We have some refreshments for you.
Oh
after
yes,
the service
yes,
today.
please. I think it should be gungo peas, which
Yes,
you
it's
didn't have
soup.
on, and for the coffee make, right? Gungo peas soup.